Hi, my name's Della and I've been with PACA Academy for about 2 years now. I'm a senior and a junior coach, but today we're going to be running through part 1 and part 2 of a routine. But before that, we're going to get into a warm-up. So I'm just going to do a little pulse raiser and we're going to get into some stretches. So without further ado, let's get into the warm-up. So first of all, I want you guys to find like a space, any area that's free. So I'm outside, we're all outside, you can be inside, any space that's free. So you guys need to find that space and make sure you have enough space to get into stretches and get into pulse raises. So first we're going to be jogging on the spot for 10 seconds. I want you guys to count with me, count alongside at home for 10 seconds, and we're just going to be jogging. So jogging on the spot for 10 seconds on the count of 3, 2, 1. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So shake out, shake out, shake out. Jogging on the spot. Now we're going to get into heel flicks. So this is the second pulse raiser. Heel flicks are simply, for those who don't know, what you do is you flick your legs, so the back of your ankle onto the back of your leg. So just like this. That's what a heel flick should look like. So for 10 seconds, I want you guys to follow on along and do heel flicks. Counting with me from the count of 10. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So notice when I was flicking my heels, they was going all the way up. They weren't here, they weren't like this. It was going all the way up to the back of my leg. So that's what heel flick should look like. So we've done 2 pulse raises. You can give it a little shake out if you want. Now we're going to get into stretches. So I want you guys to take, as I said, the space on the ground, and you're going to sit down and place your legs a length apart. And what you're going to do is you're going to reach out both arms and touch your toes. So for those people, however, who can't touch their toes or in the process of learning, what I want you to do is simply place your hands on the ground and pull out, stretch. And you're going to hold that for 10 seconds. Before you do that, for those who can touch your toes, what you do is the same thing. And you hold your toes and you pull out also for 10 seconds. So whichever one you choose, hold that there for 10 seconds. From the count of 10, I'm going to hold my toes. So from the count of 10, 9, 8, 7, make sure you guys are counting, following in at home. Make sure you can feel the stretch in your legs. And you pull in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Slowly get up, making sure you shake out, shake out, shake out. So now we've done pulse raises, done a stretch, and we're gonna do one more stretch, which is what I want you guys to do is take your right arm and place it behind your back, just like I've done. So just like this, place it behind your back and get your left arm and hold onto your elbow. You should feel the stretch in your arm here. You should feel that stretch. And what you do is you hold that for 10 seconds. So that's going to stretch out your muscles. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now we're going to do it for the other arm. Shake out, shake out. So same thing. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Whew. Shake out, shake out, shake out. So now that's the warm up, and we're going to get into part 1 of the routine without further ado. So now we're going to get into part 1 of the routine. So what I want you guys to do is simply start with this motion, which is called clean. So all cheerleaders will start with this position. So it's just a clean. What it is your legs together, so your feet together, your hands by your side, and you're in clean. That's what clean should look like. So that is also motion 1. So that's also count 1 for this routine. So clean. Now we're going to go into count 2, which should look like this. So what you do is you move your right foot, you move it out, and you step forward just slightly. You get your hands and you place them in a fist, put them by your side. That should be count 2. So count 2 should look exactly like this. Legs straight, back leg straight, hands in a fist by your side, count 2. So count 1, clean. Count 2, legs, your leg apart, your leg in front. So in fact, make sure specifically that it's your right leg that goes in front. Right leg in front, hands in a fist, down by your side. So count 1, count 2. Now we're going to move out into count 3, which should look like this. Those who aren't familiar with what a lunge is, I'm going to demonstrate before we get into count 3. So a lunge should simply look like this. I'm going to use my left leg to be my forward leg. So what I'm going to do is keep myself in this position, which is almost V. So I'm almost in a V. My right leg is straight behind me and my left leg is almost in a straight position, but I've got room to move. So I'm going to move down into a lunge, and this is what a lunge should look like. Your legs should be in tabletop position, so it should be straight, and your back leg should also be straight. That's what a lunge should look like. For count 3, my hands are going to be by my side, so that's what this will look like. So count 1, count 2, we move out, hands by your sides in a fist, count 2. Count 3, we move out into a lunge. I'm going to use my left leg, so everyone should be using their left leg, and remember keeping your right leg straight, hands are still in a fist. That's count 3. Now count 4 is what we did at the beginning, so if you guys remember, clean. That's what count 4 is. So I'm just going to bring it back to the beginning for you guys. Count 1, count 2, straight, hands by your side, count 2. Count 3, you bring your left leg forward and you move out into a lunge. Just count 3. Now count 4, you move out into clean. Okay, so let's bring it back again. Count 1, count 2, so legs straight, count 3 into lunge. Still keeping your hands in a fist by your side, count 3. Now count 4, as I said, is clean, and then we move out into count 5. So let's take it again from the beginning. 1, count 2, count 3, move out into lunge. Count 4, remember, is clean. Count 5 now, which is what we're going to be adding on, is something that you should have seen in episode 1, which looks like a high V. So high V simply is putting your arms straight, your hands in a fist, and you move your legs apart. That's count 5. So that's what count 5 should look like, which is also a high V. So I'm going to just go from where my count 4 was, which was clean, and I'm going to move out into a high V. So that's what it should look like. So you go from clean into a high V. So let's go from the beginning. So clean, count 1, count 2, count 1 is clean. Make sure you guys are remembering, because I even made a mistake. Count 1 is clean. Count 2, you move out. Count 3, remember, as I said, is a lunge. So make sure you're in tabletop position, your leg is straight. That's count 3. Count 4, clean. Count 5, remember, is high V. Making sure that your arms are straight, your legs are just apart. Count 5. Now count 6 is something a little bit more tricky, but it's still simple. You guys can still get it. So what you have to do is move your right leg over your left leg. So remember, keeping your hands in a high V, fists pointed out, that's still high V. So count 6, you move out from your right leg over your left leg. That's count 6, high V. Now count 7, what you do is you move out into a low V. So low V looks like this. You should also be familiar with this from episode 1. Low V looks like this. So your fists are down, your feet are apart, and that's what low V looks like. So from the beginning, I'm just going to run through it again. Clean, which looks like this. Just making sure that your feet are together, your hands are by your side, and that's what this example should look like. You guys should be mirroring this as clean. So count 2, we move out, making sure our hands are by our side, our right leg is in front, and our left leg is straight. That's count 2. Count 3, as I said, is you move your left leg into a lunge. left leg into a lunge and your fists are still down, that's count 3. Count 4, clean. Remember, count 5 is what we learned from episode 1, which is a high V. So you move out into high V, that's count 5. Count 6, legs over, and making sure that my leg is perfectly straight, and I'm in count 6. My arms are also perfectly straight and my fists are shooting up into the sky. Count 6. So count 6, and then count 7 is also something that we learned from episode 1, which is into a low V. So count 6, low V, should look like this. Should look like that. That's what count 7 is. So count 8 now is what we learned from the beginning, which is a clean position. So clean, that's count 8. So we've gone from count 7, which is low V, into clean, which is count 8. So if I bring it through all together now, so making sure you guys are following on at home, you'll get all the counts, as well as if you've remembered, you'll be able to follow on, making sure that your arms are straight, you're lunging, is it a tabletop position, legs straight, making sure that your clean positions are also perfectly clean, so legs together. So clean, count 1. Count 2 is you move out into this position where your leg is straight and your fists are by your side. That's count 2. Count 3 is you move out into a lunge. This is your lunge position. Your lunge position, count 3. Count 4, you're back into clean. Count 5, high V. That's count 5. Count 6, you move your right foot over your left foot. You're still in high V. That's count 6. Now this should be mirrored just as you guys are watching me. That's count 6. Count 7, move into low V. And simply count 8, clean. So that's what the routine looks like all together. You guys can keep trying out by yourself at home. So making sure that you just run through it over and over and over again. It will become like second nature. I've been cheering for a long time now, and I still remember routines from like 2 years ago. So as long as you guys just keep running through it, keep going over and over and over, you'll remember it. It'll become like second nature, as I said. So let's just do it one more time before we get into part 2 of the video. So clean, count 1. Count 2, your right leg goes in front, fist down. Count 2. Count 3, you move out into a lunge. That's count 3. Count 4, you're in clean. Count 5, you move out into high V, legs apart. Count 6, you move your right foot over your left foot. That's count 6, you're still in high V. Count 7, you move out into, count 7, you move out into a low V. And count 8, you move out into clean. That's what it should look like all together. So now we're going to move into part 2 of the video, and then we're going to put it all together and go through a cool down so that you guys are relaxed and your muscles aren't tense. So we're going to get into part 2. So now we're going to move out into part 2 of the routine. So I'm just going to take you through similar motions, but I'm going to slightly mix it up and then put it all together at the end. So count 1 is clean. So everyone should have their feet together and your hand should be by your side. So that's count 1. Now this clean position is something that you should be familiar with because I also introduced this in part 1 of the routine. So clean. Now count 2 is something you should also be familiar with, which is moving out into a low V. So your feet are separated and your hands are in tight fists and they're by your side, slightly away. So that's count 2. This is also something that you should see in episode 1. So count 2, low V. Making sure your arms are straight, feet are apart, and your hands are in a tight fist. Count 2. So count 1, clean. Count 2, move out into low V. Now count 3 is a bit different. I want you guys to pay attention to what my head does, making sure that it's also tucked in as well as the rest of my body. I'm just going to go ahead and touch my toes. That will be count 3. So count 3, as I said, my head's tucked in and my hands are on my toes. So that's count 3. So you move out from count 2, which is low V, into count 3, which you touch your toes. Head down, head tucked in. That's count 3. Now count 4 is something that I'm going to introduce, which is simply you make your hands in a tight fist. So fingers should be tucked in, your thumb should be tucked in, and now you're going to put your fist on your hips. So your fist should be on your hips, and that's what this position looks like. So your feet are apart and your hands are on your hips. Now making sure that your hands are also in this V position will give you accuracy. So that should be what it should look like. So this is exactly count 4. We're going to go from count 1, which is clean, count 2, which is low V, your feet are separated, count 3, which your fingers are on your toes and your head's tucked in. It's count 3. Count 4, your feet are still apart, your hands are in a closed fist, thumbs also closed away, and you now put it on your hips. That's count 4. Now, count 5 should look like this. This is a new pose that I'm going to introduce, which is called Liberty. So Liberty works on balance. So you guys need to make sure that if you don't have good balance, you can use this tip. Focus in on one part, on one still object will make sure that your balance is on point. So I'm going to use my left leg and I'm going to just stand on it, and I'm going to bring up my right foot and I'm going to make this position. This position means that my toes are pointing down, my leg is in a tabletop position, my left leg is still straight, it's on the ground, and I'm in what you call Liberty. Now the last part to Liberty is high V, and that's what Liberty looks like, keeping your balance. So count 1, which is clean. Count 2, low V, something you should be familiar with in episode 1. Making sure your hands are in a tight fist and they're slightly apart. Your legs are also apart, low V. Count 3 is your fingertips on your toes with your head tucked in. Count 3. Count 4, as I said, was Liberty. So making sure that you lean onto your left leg, you bring up your right leg, your toes are pointing down, and your arms go into high V. That's count 4. Now that's Liberty. Now count 5 is another pose that we're going to introduce into this routine, which is called simply Candlesticks. So it's kind of in the name. What you need to do is make sure that your arms are straight. So both arms need to be straight, and also make sure your fists are in a vertical position. And this is what candlesticks look like. Your thumbs are also tucked in, and candlesticks. So we're going to go from count 1. Count 1 is clean, making sure our feet are together, hands by your side, count 1. Count 2, you move out into low V, making sure our feet are separate, fists just before our side. So just like this. This image should be what you should look like. So this is count 3. Then we move out into putting your fingertips on your toes, and you move up with your hands on your hips, making sure you're perfect V. And then lastly, you move out into Liberty. So Liberty should look exactly like this, tabletop position, and your feet pointing down. So that's what Liberty should look like. Cool. As I said, we're going to add candlesticks. So from Liberty, you move out into candlesticks. All you do is you put your right foot forward and you move out into candlesticks. Right. The next motion should be putting your legs into clean. So putting your legs together and then your arms down into low V, and then you move out into clean. So I'm just going to take it from the beginning and run through the counts with you. So that was the motion. I'm just going to run through the counts. So count 1, clean. Count 2, low V. Count 3, you put your fingertips on your toes. Count 4 is your hands on your hips. So make sure you're in a perfect V. Count 5 is making sure you go into Liberty. So keeping your balance. So toes pointing down and your knee in tabletop position. High V. That's count 5. So now we're going to get into a cool down just to relax our muscles and make sure we're not tense. So the first motion I want you guys to do is to get your wrists. So just put them in front of you, and I want you guys to move them in a circular motion. Just keep twisting that round for 10 seconds. making sure that you can feel that those muscles turning all the way around, making sure that's a circular motion. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So that's our circular motion done with our wrists, and I want you guys to do the same thing for our neck and our head. So for 10 seconds, I want you guys to do this same motion that I'm doing. Move your head round. So let's start from 10. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So that's our neck motions done, and I just want you guys to move down to the bottom part of your body, and I want you guys to do the same thing with your right foot first. So just move it in a circular motion for 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And we have to do the same thing with the next foot. So my left foot, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So now our cool down's done. I want you guys to focus on the challenge that I said I would give you guys. So making sure that you guys remember all the motions. So I want you guys to pick out 2 new things you've learned in this video, and I want you guys to practice it. Take pictures of yourself and mirror yourself. You can get a mirror and you can see exactly how you look, and I want you guys to face that mirror, and I want you guys to remember 2 things that I taught you that were new. So if you were paying attention, 2 new motions were introduced into this video. I want you guys to practice both of them. So just for a quick reminder, if you guys don't remember, liberty, which was making sure you work on balance. So your left leg, your right leg up in tabletop position, and your arms in a high V. That was the first one. So I want you guys to make sure you guys got that nailed with your toes pointing down. And the second pose was candlesticks. So making sure you guys have your arms straight out and they're in a vertical position with your fists in a tight fist and your thumbs tucked in. That was the second motion. I want you guys to practice that and make sure you guys have that perfect. Thank you for watching, and tune into our next episode. Bye for now.